everybody, it's Tyler here at Championships, checking in with legendary 1323 MadTown Robotics here with the Rally, and we're going to be doing a great overview of this robot. Of course, talking about all the awesome things that go into this. Their transfer process is absolutely sick. Of course, we're talking about this multi-stage elevator, everything that goes into just a lot of mechanical focus on this robot, so pay attention and learn more about MadTown and their robot here in REEFSCAPE, coming up on Behind the Bumpers. Really, so much to break down on this robot here, so let's start out with that coral intake and just walk through all the different aspects that went into MadTown's robot this year.
So like first things first, we have our coral ground intake right here, and then as we feed it in, right, you're gonna see that we have two rollers that actually suck in the pipe, and regardless of what the angle that we pick it up at, it's always gonna want to be somewhat center within our intake. And then from there, we have just like a sensor that detects when we have it in, and it queues up the entire like handoff portion. And this is how it ends up right after the handoff, like what you see right here. And once it's in here, we're able to just pretty much score L2 through L4, either through the front or the back, depending which tag we see. Just like right here. These are like all the levels that we're doing, and then we're gonna do the final L4.
Can you talk to me some about the initial design process and some of the strategy that went into this robot?
So every year when the game gets released, we always try to maximize the robot functionality in every way we can actually score and put up points, because we want to be like the perfect robot that's able to have the well-rounded alliance. We want to make sure we can do everything. We want to make sure we can do the L1 efficiently, L2, L3, and L4. We want to make sure, we essentially want to be able to put up as many points as we can during a match. That's how we target like everything.
As we keep moving on here, like I said, so much to cover on this with your end effector, the elevator, so much more. What do you want to cover next?
We could go into our ground algae intake as well. So right here, this is how we can actually pick up the algae from the ground on the field. It just gets sucked in through our algae intake, and it gets pinched through our end effector as well. And then we're gonna do the what we call platypus mode right now, scoring in the actual, like scoring for the co-op point as well. That's the movement that we do. And then from there, we can also do the barge scoring. Or do you want barge scoring? Which is what you see right here. So that's how we're actually able to get the height with our 4-stage elevator.
Now, MadTown last played week 5 for the competition. How has the competition evolved from week 5 here in the championship so far in terms of any meta game strategy that MadTown is doing?
Yeah, I mean, we've realized that in order to be able to maximize the amount of points we need to put up, we just need to do a lot more of the L1s, because we know teams have prioritized doing L2 to L4. So we know there's always going to be somebody that can do that, right? But we know people didn't really prioritize L1 because it's the least amount of points. But we realized we can actually do 6 pipes per phase. We can do like the 3-stack, like 2 base layers and the 1 on the very top, through like through the use of both the algae intake and the coral intake. And we just pretty much like swipe off the coral from the intake onto the actual reef itself.
Can we dive more into the elevator system they're using? I mean, I love just how compact this robot is, and obviously multi-stages to get it going.
Yeah, so the reason why we have 4 stages on our elevator is we knew that in order to get our starting configuration, we were gonna have like the pivot on it, but in order to get within our frame perimeter, we knew it had to be short, and in order to compensate for the short stages, we had to just add more stages back in. So that's really the reason why we went for the 4th stage, in order to get the height that we needed for the barge, L4, and all of that.
What other considerations did you have to make in terms of like packaging everything to get such a low clearance, that sort of thing?
We're just making sure that everything was able to stow away like perfectly, right? Like even on our coral intake, we have hard stops down here. There's these little like stubs that you can kind of see right there. For us, it was really just making sure everything is packaged like perfectly fine. And like even in the carriage, right? We wanted to package as much as we can in the carriage to like lower our center of gravity as much as we could, which is why we don't really have any motors up here other than this one. And because of that, we're able to power our differential gearboxes through here, right? So this powers like the left side. This one right here powers the right side, and then this X60 right here is able to power like our transmission from here for these rollers. If we can spin these, yeah, you can see how this one's able to spin right there, just like off like the coaxial, like dead axle.
And your climber, speaking about compacting as well too, your climber is super compact on the system.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the integration of all this package.
Yeah, so for the climber, we decided that it was going to be very easy to do the backpack climb rather than the winch style climb that we were doing in the past. So how we do it is we have these two flex wheels right there. Those are spinning inwards to actually capture the pipe on the cage. And once it's in there, once we have the pipe in there, we have this diffuse proximity sensor right here. It pretty much scans for the distance that we tune it to. And once it knows it's in there, the entire portion of the climb is automated. Like that includes the pivot of the elevator, the feeding of the algae intake into our end effector as well.
Very cool on that. Anything else you want to highlight or cover on this awesome machine?
Just like the amount of work that we put into it, like to actually make it on a way. Like the 115 for us, it was a little harder for us, but that's also why we went for a smaller frame size. Instead of going like the typical 30 by 30, we went 28 by 28. And then we just had to do a lot of testing with the materials that we used in order to make sure that the trade-off that we did for the weight was the same for the structural integrity of everything that we had on the robot.
I'm going to ask you, maybe for a potential spoiler, are there any certain type of sweatshirts that certain mentors may be saving for playoffs or anything like that at all?
Yes, there is a dance sweater coming out.
Well, obviously this will release after champs, but we look forward to seeing what that is. MadTown Robotics, thank you so much for taking time. Awesome machine once again, and really you're awesome as well too.
Thank you.
So we can't wait to see, of course, how you do.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.